We just got confirmation an hour ago that Micah Parsons did indeed tear his ACL, and he is out for the rest of the season and is probably just crushed. Just literally bottled it up in the dust, blew it away. The Packers' Super Bowl hopes. This injury has to be the worst one that I can think of in recent memory. The Packers have invested their future in this guy. Like their future idea of winning a Super Bowl. You gave up 2 first-round picks. You paid him $48 million. And in this window, where it's like, yeah, you got to win in this window because Micah Parsons' contract is only going to get more expensive. You don't have future first-round draft picks your next couple of years. And the team, you're not going to be able to keep all these players that they've built around them. They're going to be free agents. And Micah Parsons was kind of like the catalyst and the main factor if the Packers were going to win the Super Bowl this year. And tragically, I don't say this lightly, he got himself injured and it's over. And I was fixing to say this, like, you know, when I was talking about the Cowboys earlier, I'm like, yeah, you know, Dallas, their draft pick will continue to get better. But I didn't want to say that gladly. Like, this injury is horrible. Their defense yesterday, post Micah Parsons' injury, looked deflated. Like, they didn't even look the same post Micah Parsons' injury. Bo Nix was absolutely phenomenal yesterday, which we'll get to him later on in a bit. But even on the offensive side of the ball, they looked deflated. Micah Parsons, like, he was that important to this roster. Just imagine losing your number one player on each of your rosters. Imagine the Patriots right now losing Drake May. Imagine the Bills losing Josh Allen the rest of the season. Like, that is what type of injury we're talking about here. Granted, it's not the quarterback. It's your edge rusher. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're just screwed. But look at the Eagles a couple years ago. Carson Wentz tears his ACL. You put Nick Foles in at quarterback. They were able to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if that's the same case for the Packers. Like, Micah Parsons is not as replaceable. When you watched the game yesterday, Micah Parsons was everywhere. Every time I turn around, Micah Parsons is in the backfield getting pressure on Bo Nix. Their Super Bowl hopes was riding on the defense. Now the Packers won't be able to generate much pass rush. Their back end can get more exposed, which is been their weak part of their defense. Like, their secondary has been their weakness. Their front seven is their strength, led by Micah Parsons. And more pressure, and this creates more pressure on the offense, which equals more pressure on Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, which can be a recipe for disaster. Over the last couple of weeks, they've been able to generate some type of identity on offense. They've had a good run game. Watson has been their star. He's had 5 touchdowns in their last 4 or 5 games. Coming into yesterday's game, he went down with an injury yesterday, although they come out today and said it won't be that serious of an injury. But for a majority of the season, the Packers' offense has been their weakest part of their team. Their defense has been their most consistent unit all season. Outside of a couple games here and there, they gave up 40 against Dallas. But that was the number one offense in the league at the time. But this unit, defensive unit, was the main catalyst and the bright spot for the reason why everyone had this team going to the Super Bowl, being able to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And now with this Micah Parsons injury, that idea may be out of the window. This sucks for the Packers. This sucks for Micah Parsons. And this ultimately sucks for their fan base. You put invested a lot in this guy, and you just feel gutted. already saw multiple Packers fans reiterating this idea because they do not trust Jordan Love and this offense to pick up the weight of this injury and lead these guys to the Super Bowl. And I don't blame them. I'm right there with them. This is just brutal across all fronts for the Packers. I wish nothing but a good recovery for Micah Parsons, and I hope he's able to come back just as good as he did and has been the last couple of years. He had an all-pro case this year. He was in the running for first-team all-pro. I think Myles Garrett has been running away with Defensive Player of the Year, but he was playing like a first-team all-pro. He had 66 pressures this season. I think there was a stat, all the others combined were like 67, something like that. That's how important this player is. But let's just shift away gears right fast to the Broncos. I haven't been that high on the Broncos this season. Let's be honest. They haven't played well on offense. Defensive unit has been pretty good, but they've just been able to squeak by games. But it might be time to put some respect on the Broncos. They're finding ways to win games. Bo Nix plays well when you ultimately need them to. They have a phenomenal defense. And let's be honest, I think this team really reminds me of the Philadelphia Eagles of last year. Philadelphia, had a pretty good defense. Probably even phenomenal defense last year. And there were cases where the offense was hit and miss here or there, but in the playoffs, they were able to turn everything on and go on to win the Super Bowl. And I feel like the Broncos is built that way. Bo Nix yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. He had 4 touchdowns and threw for 300 yards. RJ Harvey was able to run the ball decent. But their receiving core, Courtland Sutton, Troy Franklin, able to have a day. And that might have to do more with the Packers' secondary. But this team is good. Like that interception that Patrick Surtain had on Jordan Love, that interception that was absolutely phenomenal. Like this team is good. I've been sleeping on this team enough. I think they're a good ball club. I don't love them though as the favorites to win the Super Bowl. But it's really going to be hard for me not to see this team at least in the AFC Championship game. They are in the driver's seat as of right now to get the number 1 seed in the AFC and playing in January in Denver. It's not going to be fun for anybody. Not going to be fun. In the second round, if they clinch their first round bye, like what team could they get? When you look across the landscape of the league, like just look across the league. Look across the NFL. If we look at the standings and we look at their conference, they could pull maybe like a Chargers, Bills in the divisional game. I would bet the Broncos win that game. Because we're going to talk about the Bills in this next topic, but we really, really have to start putting respect on the Broncos' name. I still don't love them to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. But we got to give credit to Sean Payton. He has these guys ready to play. He's had Bo Nix making plays when he ultimately needs to. He's been dialing up great play calls for Bo Nix. This marriage, although it's had its problems publicly, it's turned out to bode very well. And they have the pieces around them to be a Super Bowl caliber roster. And they are going to be in the mix come late January.